Welcome to another fantastic episode of Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes. We're live here in downtown Bakersfield, California, and we can't do this episode without our presenting sponsor and our location sponsor. At Oliver & Associates Real Estate, we know that buying or selling a home isn't just a transaction, it's a life moment. That's why they're committed to building relationships that last. They take the time to truly understand your needs, your dreams, your stories, so they can find you not just a house, but a home. Give Oliver Associates a call at 661-808-3444 or check them out at yourrealtor.us today. Today's Meat and Potatoes episode location is brought to you by Modern Gigi Gallery, an ultra-modern art gallery located in downtown Bakersfield, California, featuring the artworks of the modern abstract artist Johnny Ramos. Whether you're looking for artwork for your office, your home, or a postcard you can send as a thank you note, go to Modern Gigi Gallery located at 918th Street in Bakersfield, or give them a call at 661-374-7724 or email them at art@moderngigi.com today. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Small Business Celebration Live here with Meat and Potatoes. You know, I've said this like 20 times already, and I almost get it right every single time. So, it's Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes Live, where we do a deep dive into one particular topic, one particular subject with our guest. And our guest this week is Mr. John Heath, the owner of Alpha Technologies and Alarm Systems. Welcome to Small Business Celebration Live.
Well, it's great for you to have me. I'm excited about this and to go over this wonderful topic. So I think it's very important.
And for visionaries who don't know who you are and what is it that you do?
Once again, my name is John Heath with Alpha Technologies and Alarm Systems. I've been blessed to be the founder and CEO for the last 13 years. We help small businesses and people stay safe. We're basically designed for intrusion, fire, life safety, those important systems that we put in place to help you have the peace of mind to stay safe.
Your door is ajar. Your door is ajar. That's you.
Exactly. We like to make noise, you know, we like to have fun, but at the same time we like to keep everybody safe. And if it's caused by making noise, by notifying somebody, whatever, hey, the louder it is, the better it is.
You know, one of the comments that came up during your recorded show that aired like 2 weeks ago on Small Business Celebration is the difference between residential and commercial. And I'd like to address that very briefly before we go into our deep dive, because one of the things that came up is, commercial is so much simpler because there's such fewer things to do. Why does it cost the same, if not more?
Very true. And it is the difference between a residential and commercial. If you're adding just openings like doors or windows, you are correct.
Right.
There's less in a commercial space.
Right.
But at the same time, a commercial space has more activity. Right. You're getting the door opening and closing a lot more, right? So now all those signals are being stored in the cloud.
Right.
So now we need to have more storage in the cloud storage that we need for commercial than we do residential. So now we have a long-term cost for commercial more than residential.
And I would also think that with commercial, there's a lot more sensors and things inside the facility than there is in a residential.
Yes and no. I mean, some of these residential homes that we've done are, 20,000 square feet. That's just massive. Right. So yeah, you can have a lot more motions and things like that in there.
Right.
With all the windows and stuff, but there's still not a lot of activity, right? How many times have you opened every single window in your house?
Right, like probably, well, I know this last weekend was absolutely gorgeous.
Yes,
and it was beautiful. And my lovely bride, Tamla, I think she opened up like half the windows in the front half of the house.
Yep.
But that hasn't happened in like months.
Exactly, where in a commercial space, you're opening the door multiple times, you're getting clients coming in and out, back doors opening, throwing the trash, doing things like that. So you have a lot more activity in the commercial realm. Yeah, you might have less sensors, but you have a lot more activity, a lot more storage of information that we have to hold on for.
Now for the real topic at hand. You just came back from Vegas.
Yes, I did.
Now, everybody thinks, okay, I'm going to go to Vegas because there's the casinos and the shows and the gambling and all the things like that, but that's not why you went.
No, it wasn't. Not at all.
Why did you go to Vegas and spend an inordinate amount of time not in the casino?
Because our industry and in life, you have to stay educated. And we look at it, they go into these different conferences like that, you know, being around like-minded people in your industry, you learn things, right? And that's the ultimate goal. Every day we wake up, we need to learn things. And in sales and installation, I look at it this way, in the sales foundation, you know, your basic foundation is having a great attitude. You know, having fun, enjoying life, doing that's your basis, right? Having a good attitude. Next is product knowledge. And going to those expos, going to those events, learn product knowledge, just to learn about what's coming out, how we can use that technology to help you guys here in our local town.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
What new vendor or what new product or service did you learn last week at Vegas, at this trade show, that you're going to implement into your business for your customers?
Well, I had an opportunity to interview a few guys there, a few different vendors there. And if you happen to go see my social media, you'd see a couple of those interviews. But at the same time, one of them was a smoke detector that actually tests itself.
It tests itself?
Yes.
How does it do that?
You have the ability to put the panel in test mode, and it will actually heat up this little coil that has a little bit of wax, and then the wax will emit smoke, and it will test it.
It's creating its own fire.
Yes. And it can do it 150 times before it's no good, so that's like 150 years. To test once a year, 150 years. I mean,
wow.
Now you think of the labor savings. You don't have to go, if it was in a hotel.
You don't have to put a little tent around the sprinkler, all that other thing?
Exactly.
Wow.
You don't have to go in every room and test. You can actually do it from there. At the same time, it also has Bluetooth in the detector head, so it monitors your mobile device. So you can have to physically look at it, and it will see your phone and log that you were there. So you can't just say, oh, I tested it, and write it down. Now there's a verification process. So there's a lot of things like that. That was one of the cooler ones that were out there.
Well, and part of also going to these trade shows, yes, the vendors like to take you out for overpriced steak and overpriced alcohol and that sort of thing, but it's also building that relationship with the vendors. Why is that so important for you?
Because I've always looked at, you know, being around like-minded people. You know, my dad always told me iron sharpens iron, right? It's from the good book. It tells you that being around like-minded people is going to make you better. And just being able to have that conversation and be around people that are in their industry, you can learn from them. They've done things that you might not have done, and vice versa, and you can share your experience, right? We've learned things that might be happening on the East Coast is differently, that hasn't happened here on the West Coast yet. And we can use their knowledge of how they've done that to curve the learning curve here on the West Coast of how things are happening.
For visionaries out there who think that going to a trade show is too expensive, because yes, it costs you money to go there. Yes, it costs you money to go to the overpriced hotel. Yes, it costs you money to actually go to the convention and that sort of thing. But what's the thing that most business owners miss about going to the trade show, or the thing that they should really think about doing to get the most value out of the investment that they make?
So first and foremost, the trade show is to show off the newest products out there. And anybody can go and absorb that knowledge. But the real key factor is the relationships you build at these events. Anybody can walk the floor, look at a product, see it there, but it's that chance that you get to shake that guy's hand or meet that product manager or understand why they designed this product to do this thing. You know, now you understand, you build those relationships. So if you ever came into a situation, I could pick up the phone and call someone that knows how to do it, right? Instead of me checking on AI with ChatGPT, trying to figure it out, doing the research.
You know the guy.
I know the guy to call. I don't have to ask someone to call, right? So that's what and why trade shows are so important.
Now, Visionaires, now it's time for the fortune cookie game. Now, this is a lot of fun. What we do is I have a sealed fortune cookie here in my hand. It is completely sealed. I have not opened it up. I'm going to give this fortune cookie to our guest. He has to open up the sealed fortune cookie, break open this fortune cookie, read the fortune inside, and add "in my business" at the end of it, and expand on it. And
in my business.
in my business. And what does your fortune say, my friend? That's a good one.
Can we redo this? We redo this. I don't have no Chinese food, so I don't get no fortune cookie. I gotta eat the Chinese food before fortune cookie. It's no good. No, I'm just playing.
All right.
All right. And I'm supposed to say what after the end?
In my business.
In my business.
And
Okay.
And elaborate.
And elaborate. Okay. You are the very definition of trustworthy. In my business. Panda Express. Oh, never mind. No. Yes. But it does say that you are the very definition of trustworthy in my business. Because why? We are the professionals that look forward to protecting you and yours. It's our job, day in and day out, to make sure your peace of mind, knowing your product, your loved ones, the things you care about most, is protected. And that's what we do at Alpha Technologies and Alarm Systems.
Very good. You got your fortune. And by the way, you can eat the cookie if you want.
Afterwards.
Okay. Now, Visioneers, if you've been watching the live show for a while, you know that producer Emily is an absolutely wonderful interviewer in her own right. She's a completely 180 degrees opposite of me in so many different ways. It's such a joy to have her on. And now it's time for questions by Emily.
And Questions by Emily is sponsored by Cazador Consulting. Need elite talent to grow your team? Cazador Consulting Group in Bakersfield is your go-to partner in staffing and direct hires. They don't just fill jobs, they build lasting partnerships by listening to your needs and delivering top-tier customer service. At Cazador, mutual success isn't a goal, it's the standard. This is more than staffing, it's building your team so you can build your business. Visit CazadorConsultingGroup.com or call 877-800-4622. That's CazadorConsultingGroup.com or 877-800-4622, and let's build your future together.
Hello, engineers. Welcome back to Questions by Emily. I'm Emily, and if you've got questions, the live chat is open, so feel free, drop them there for John. I've got questions, you've got questions. We'll ask them together.
We all got questions.
We all got questions,
yes,
right?
we do.
What's a question in your business that you find yourself asking the most?
Well, that's awesome. Well, we are open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. No. What time we're open, right? No. I guess the one thing that people always ask is, what makes you different to the national companies?
Okay.
I guess that is the one thing that we get a lot of the times, right? It's hard to determine from a little video on TV or vice versa, but when they actually have that conversation, what sets you guys apart? You know, and we always lead with local. We always lead, we got a brick and mortar here in town where you can come and talk to a real person.
You can actually see our faces.
Exactly, have
You
that
can
one-to-one.
call us on the phone.
Yes, those type of things. And also, we live in the community, not just that salesperson that might be helping you design your system, but the whole team lives here. Your professional, your installer lives here. You know, the administration staff, they all live here, work here, and is part of your community today. And you never know. You be out there with your kids at Little League practice, and the person you're having practice with is someone from a security team, right?
Yeah.
That you're not going to get with those national guys. That's why having the local advantage that we have makes us and sets us apart differently.
Well, then, what's the question? So that's what people are asking you. What are you asking yourself day in and day out? Because you've got, I mean, people's lives on the lines.
The question that we ask ourselves is, how can we be more efficient and be more transparent in how we're protecting you? right? You know, yes, we are the professionals, and yes, we don't want to give out all those secrets, but at the same time, we want you to believe that we have your best interest at heart. We are looking to protect you day in and day out, you know, on the weekends, during the week. So those are the questions that we ask ourselves every day.
Yeah. Well, and then I wrote down, how do you choose, because you've gone to this trade show and you come back, how do you choose out of all the things you see, what am I going to implement?
Right.
Because there's a lot of cool doodads
Yes.
and knickknacks. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
how do you come back after learning, because you're educated, and it's almost like a waterfall of education,
Yes.
I can imagine. Like you're just sitting there trying to take it all in, and you can only collect so much at a time.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide after all that, what do you take with you and implement?
So you're exactly right. Going to trade shows, and some of them, right, there's the vast majority. This one I just went to is NFPA for National Fire Alarm Association. So it's just real fire alarm. There's other ones like ISC or CES, it's consumer grade, and it's like drinking out of a fire hose, right? You really want a water hose, but you're not. You're drinking out of this fire hose, and it's just like, right? And how do you put all that in, right? So you got to take your bullet points. You know, every day you got to make your notes of what you've seen, what you've liked, and then you got to review them once you get back, right? Because it is so many different things, and you'll get overwhelmed. And when we go to those shows, I like to use the old boxing frame where we're, you know, sticking and moving, getting a little information, moving on to the next one. And then we categorize it at the end of the day, and then we process it this week, see who we want to reach out to, and ultimately it falls back on you, the client, right? Because we've done that research, and we have now those tools in our quiver. So when it's time to say, hey, I'm putting together a cold storage and I need detection for 32-degree temperature, what do I do? Right? Because normal detection, smoke detectors won't work in those.
Yeah.
Because electronics won't work in the freezing.
I didn't even know that.
Right, so little things like that. Well, now we have a solution for that because we went to a place that had a vendor that has a solution. Right, so we always keep those ready to go. So you might not have a solution, but if you reach out to us, we probably do.
So you might not buy the product right away and have it in your warehouse of knickknacks and other things,
Right.
but you then know going forward, oh, I've got a client I could take this to, or oh, this would be helpful here.
Exactly.
Well, then, because trade shows tend to be expensive, right? How do you decide who you're going to bring with you? You've got a lot of staff.
Yes.
How do you narrow down who goes, who stays? Because you still have a business to run, you
Correct.
know? Like you can't just shut the whole thing down and say, see you later. How do you decide who's coming, who's staying?
And that is, we evaluate over the year, right? Who has done well, and we tried to utilize these trade shows not just as information gathering, it's for me, but for the guys that we take with us, it's also a treat for them. We want to say thank you for your hard work this last year, thank you for what you're doing, and we want them to drink out of that fire hose. We want them to be overwhelmed with all this product knowledge because they know what's out there, what we're doing on the back end. Because you'll get an installer, they go out there, they do a job, they install things, they get it going, right? But they never see the back end, the administration side, or what took us to get to that point. And bringing them to it gives them a full circle, but at the same time, they have cool things. Like this one was in Las Vegas, right? So the guys got to go to Vegas, a little bit, see the lights, enjoy a little bit of that town, you know, but it was a thank you.
Yeah, so then how do you make it educational but also a little fun? So it's not like they're sitting in a seminar for 12 hours.
Right. So in the mornings, before we hit the trade show, we have breakfast together, we go over certain topics. And I come up with a list of saying, hey, I want you to come back with 3 things you thought was innovative, find 3 things that we can implement in our business today that make it better, and find 3 things that you might think that would help us to propel us to the next level.
And then are you spreading out? Or are you staying all together?
Sometimes we'll spread out, sometimes we'll stick together. Sometimes you'll get stuck talking to one vendor and then everybody else like, I don't want to talk to this guy, and they want to roll out. So they go and do their thing. But
you're just kind of letting people go and gain the knowledge, and then everyone reconvenes at the end of the
exactly.
day.
So it's not just like structured, you got to stay next to me. No, let's go out and have some fun, man, and enjoy yourself. Meet those people, build those relationships, because that's what it's about. Not just learning the product, but building relationships in our industry.
Ah, I see. Well, and I'm sure there's multiple trade shows you could go to each year. How do you decide how many you're going to go to and how many you're going to go to versus how many you're going to bring other people with you on?
Oh, and it's so hard.
Okay.
Prior to COVID, there was maybe 3-4 events, a year, maybe 5, if that, if you were lucky. Now there's like one every month.
Oh.
I mean, last week, NFPA, National Fire Protection, had one in Vegas, and then ESX, the Electronic Security Expo, was in Nashville or back east somewhere at the same week. So I technically should have been at both of them.
Ah, I see.
But at the same time, you're right. How do we choose which one? And I looked at it that we've already gone to one security expo this year, but not a fire alarm expo. And since we do a lot of fire alarm with the security alarm, I had to spread it up a little bit.
So then how many are you going to a year?
Yeah, I got another one this week. So on Thursday, I'll be down in Costa Mesa for another trade show. It's only a one-day thing,
Okay,
but
so you're not bringing everyone for that one.
No.
So it's discerning where
Yes.
do the guys need to come to, where do I need to go? Because you could probably be somewhere, it sounds like just about every day, between those chamber events, serving.
Yes.
Like you could be out of your business as much as you wanted.
Oh yes, and it's scary because, and now and I think what's happened, right, is when it was COVID, we had to reinvent ourselves. So we reinvented ourselves on Zoom. So a lot of people started doing their own events. And now that it opened back up, now they just transferred from the Zoom to in person. So now you have this association, this trade show, everybody doing them at the same time. And it's like,
Wow.
I got one association that's a fire alarm association that holds almost 14 training classes a year. So it's at least one
All different?
plus. Yeah, throughout the state of California, but different
gosh.
topics, different things. So you could actually go to a training every month just by one organization. So that's how in depth it can get.
That's a lot.
Yes.
So narrowing it down becomes a balancing act of the calendar and importance.
Exactly. You don't want to spend all your time at trade shows because you're not getting no work done.
Yeah.
Right? And you're not being able to be a good steward of your time. So you have to do that. And if there is a Zoom link, maybe you should do the Zoom link instead of spending the 2 to 3 hours to drive to an event.
I see.
Right? So sometimes you got to look at it that way too.
Well, then you come back. You're back home. You've gotten a little sleep, hopefully. What's the first thing you do Monday morning in the office after an event?
Stay away from your emails. No, man. I'm telling you, after a week like that, I think I got there and actually I went in on Saturday just to help to see what's going on. But yeah, I had close to 500 emails that I had to answer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, in 1 week. So it's like, that's Monday morning, you're already stressed trying to catch up and this and that. And then you're going through 500 emails, trying to figure out things going back. So it can get stressful. That's why you want to strategically pick what events you want to go to. Because like you said, you can go to them all the time. One a month, 2 a month, and it soaks up so much time. But being strategic and knowing what's best for your business and how you can keep your staff and educate everybody around you is the most important topic.
So then what would you suggest to business owners when they want to be in the community, because that's who they're selling to, but they also want to gain knowledge by going outside and going to seminars and educational trainings? How do you suggest balancing that, the amount of being in the community versus going outside and learning?
Yes. I look at it, and it's a very difficult balance. I also look at it that, you want to be in the community as much as possible. And if it is preferably an after 5 event, because, business is usually over by that time, now you're building that relationships, that camaraderie with your community. I always have looked at it that on my networking side, I've always tried to roughly do 30 hours a week, or 30 hours a month of networking.
Oh, how'd you come up with that?
It's been a talk around. One of my buddies, Steve, a long time ago came up with that. He says, John, I've done this for years. If you do 20 hours a month, it's okay, but if you do 30, you're going to be successful. If you do 35, you're still going to be successful. 40, you're going to be successful. But if you go below the 30, you're not going to be as successful. So I followed that rule of thumb, and it's worked out well.
So 30 hours a week of just going into the community?
Of networking, of some kind of a networking, business networking in the community, after hours events, BNIs, different, business networking events like that. Somehow to shake hands and kiss babies at least 30 hours a month.
And how many babies have you kissed at this point?
I can't tell you. Nope. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. Oh, well, I'm just double checking, make sure I got everything. But yeah, so then when you're finding community events, are you looking online for them? Is it just word of mouth? How are you finding, because 30 hours to a lot of business owners, that sounds daunting.
Oh, it's big time.
Like 30 hours a week is sometimes how much people want to work, even though we know it's way over the 40 limit at this point, but you've got 30 hours a month to fill.
Right.
How do you suggest filling that? Like, where are you finding these
The
places?
first question is, how successful do you want to be?
You'll find it if you want it.
If you want to be successful, you won't worry about the time. The time will just happen.
Yeah.
Because you're planting seeds. As much as we look at it that we're in the concrete jungle, we're still farmers.
Yeah.
We're still having to plant those seeds, and we're still going to have to harvest it one day, right? But you have to plant the seeds. You have to be out there doing it. And the same thing for the trade shows, same thing for the communities. I mean, your local chambers have a good list of it. I know the Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce has put together a list of all the different events, but then you have ribbon cuttings, you have all these other things that are out there from the other different associations with the Hispanic Chamber. And there's, I think, like 4 other chambers that are now out there,
They keep coming.
Yes, Black Chamber, Asian, and I think Middle East, I think just started one, something like that. But there's places out there if you're interested. If you're wanting to be successful, the resources are out there in this community. And that's what I love about this community, is they're so pro-business. There's so much about making business stronger.
So get involved and get educated.
Oh, get plugged in. Yeah, shake those hands, but don't tell how many babies you kissed. It's not worth it.
Well, John, thank you so much for coming on.
problem.
How can visionaries get in touch with you?
You can find us at 4103 Buck Owens Boulevard, right down the street from the Crystal Palace. You can come in. Our phone number is area code 661-834-TECH, 834-8324. But we encourage everybody to come in. Come into the office, say hi to the girls, get you a bottle of water, look at the facility, and see who's going to protect you, because that's what we do best, is we thrive every day to keep you safe.
Thank you. And Visioneers, if you want to find out more, got to see his main show episode that we did a couple weeks ago, and this week's episode that we had Hussein Shakir from DIY Depot. We talked about profit versus people, the price trap, and how to figure out what fits your customer. It was a great episode on our main show, and we will be back every Monday live at 5.